We're joined here with the head coach for San Jose State women's basketball, Jamie Craighead. Coach Craighead, the first three games of the season were on the road for the Spartans. San Jose State, after a long layoff, finally back on the court. What were your impressions of the first three games? You went 1-2 in those three contests.
We're getting some rust off. Obviously, it's a new group. They haven't played together. So we're working through some things on both ends of the court. We definitely, I think we have some skill and some ability to stretch the floor and some inside presence. But ultimately, obviously we're 1-2. So you'd like to see the results early, but I think for us, it's about the process, and we're going to focus on that as we head towards, Mountain West play starting in late December, and try and make sure that, we have things worked out and we're ready to go.
The last time out, San Jose State, they lost a tough game to Sacramento State, but the team did have a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter, and you had four players in double figures. Does that provide a silver lining for a loss like that, or is it just more of a letdown feeling when you come off of a loss that was kind of tough on the road?
Not too much silver lining, just because we beat ourselves. When you're up 18 on the road and you got 10 minutes to go, obviously we learned some things from it. That's what's important, right? You have to learn from it, but we should have closed the game out, and we're going to have to close games out like that. Every game is hard. It doesn't matter if it's home or on the road. And to get a double-digit lead at this level is really difficult to do. And you've got to be able to sustain it through your defense, and you got to be able to hit shots and execute your offense to get good shots. And I think we could have done a better job on both ends to do that. It's important that I know we can score. I know that we can defend. I know that we have some players, but to lose one like that early in our season, you want your kids not to focus on it, to not have any hangover. And there's games that just keep coming, so we move on.
In both losses, the Spartans were out-rebounded. Is that where it starts, on the boards? And if that is where it starts, who would you like to see crash those boards more, perhaps help you guys get those numbers up?
Actually, I wasn't worried about the rebounding numbers at Sac State, because it wasn't offensive rebounds that we lost in. It was defensive rebounds, which is missed shots. So ultimately, it's our shooting percentage that needs to go up to fix that number. Against Eastern Washington, when we won it. We're not going to win the rebound battle against Washington State. We're not built to play in the Pac-12. We didn't have the kind of size to combat theirs. I didn't expect us to win that rebounding battle. But it's kind of a false sense of rebounding when you miss a bunch of shots and they get the defensive rebounds when there's a 6'5" kid on the court. So I wasn't really too worried about that. We won. We only shot 4 free throws for the game, and we still won the battle of made free throws and second chance points combined over our opponent, which is an emphasis for us. So it really came down to just being more efficient from the field.
Next up for San Jose State is a Santa Clara team that will come into the Provident Credit Union Event Center 2-0 on the season. And you spoke about the shooting percentages that you would like to see increase with your team. Santa Clara has not shot below 46% in either of their games, and they just defeated Nevada, one of your Mountain West counterparts. So how do you slow them down when they come into San Jose tomorrow night?
They're a very good basketball team. They have all their returners back from a year ago. And they're trying to make a deep run into their conference. They've got an all-conference preseason player that does a really nice job. They're a very efficient team. They execute well on the offensive end. I think we've got to make them pay on the defensive end. We have to execute, I think that we're a better shooting team than we're showing right now. It comes down to taking good shots so that you can be effective and efficient. So we've emphasized that in film sessions, and that's the goal. I really think it's about us right now. It's really, really early to be focusing solely on your opponents. With 10 new players, you have to be able to execute what you do well. You have to be able to run your defense and understand your defense well, and then you can really focus on what the opponent is doing and make game time adjustments. But for us, like, I think that, better days are ahead from a shooting percentage place. It's kind of understanding roles too. What shots do you take? What are your shot versus what somebody else's shot? And getting the ball in the hands of the right people who are efficient. So that's our goal right now. Santa Clara is a very, very tough matchup, and we're going to have to play well.
We're here with head coach Jamie Craighead for the San Jose State women's basketball program. And coach, the last set of questions that I have for you, these are the ones that I really wanted to ask you, and they actually get away from what was happening on the court these past few weeks. This will be the first game for San Jose State women's basketball at the Provident Credit Union Event Center in 652 days tomorrow. A lot has changed since then. The 2019-2020 season was the last time that the home fans were able to see your team. And that team, a lot of people may not remember, it might have clinched a postseason tournament berth of some kind at the end of that season. And then we had the shutdown and the COVID-19 pandemic, and just the world changed. And not only the world, but you talked about the 10 newcomers on the team. The only personnel left, and correct me if I'm wrong, from that team are you, Sydney Lewis, assistant coach Ari Weidman, the director of ops, Carolyn Rufino, and then Fiamma Hofoka, who's now a student assistant coach. She was a player during that last team. So what emotions are you going to feel tomorrow? Those who still remain with the program, what do you think they're going to feel?
I think as coaches, we really like move on from season to season, and you kind of put whatever happens, in the previous season kind of to bed. So for me, it's kind of hard to go all the way back. Obviously, we've had a change in roster, and some players that have moved on to either other institutions, or they're playing professionally overseas, or they graduated and have moved on with basketball and are no longer playing. You always want to play in your home gym. It's a sense of, being familiar with your surroundings. You're familiar with the hoops. You know what fans are going to be in the stands. You wear your, home day whites. So it'll be great. It'll be great. We had that long shutdown. We were on the road. We were in Arizona. We had our own shutdown. So all of that stuff will be really good. I'll be really focused on the game in Santa Clara. I don't know if there will be too much of an emotional thing for me. I know Sid and those guys, like they want to play at home. So I know for Sydney, it'll be great. Maya's in a different role. We just have been waiting for this too, to be post-COVID in a sense, with vaccinations. I'm still somehow apparently supposed to be wearing a mask at times, but if I wear it on my chin, apparently that's okay. So I don't know if that's completely normal. When I get to never wear a mask again, I'll believe that we're back to business as usual. But it's exciting. We're just excited to kick off, our home games and have a chance. We've been on the road, it was a long trip to Washington, and then to turn around and bus to Sacramento. So for us, just to be able to be in our home, gym where we've been practicing for a very long time, it seems, and have some faces that we haven't seen in a very long time sit in those stands is going to be great.
Last question for you. The time since March 2020, we've had lockdowns, we've had masks, protests, elections, political unrest. You talked about the team going to Phoenix, a season that was canceled, vaccinations, all of that. How have you changed personally, professionally, since March of 2020? And has the importance of basketball, the game of basketball, has that changed in your life? Is it more important now? Is it less? Is it the same? Has any of that changed in the kind of whirlwind that we've had these past few months and now over a year?
I think, March 2020, there was a lot more time on our hands as coaches in general across the country, to just kind of take a step back and figure out, what life without basketball looked like. It only for me, fueled the fire that I still have a great passion to coach the game, to work with this age group, to be San Jose State women's basketball's head coach. in my personal life, obviously, I got married and I became a step parent. So that's changed basketball a bit. There's got to be more of a work-life balance, and I am not used to that. I don't know if I'm very good at it yet. It's difficult to kind of understand, but it gives me a new perspective and gives me, a sense of, comfort when I'm at home and know that people, care no matter if we win or lose, they're going to love me regardless. But in general, basketball is a game that I've loved for a very long time. COVID definitely didn't change that. I get to work with great people on my staff, great student athletes that I love to pour into. And we're just really, really happy that we're back to basketball.
Well, head coach Jamie Craighead, we thank you for your time. Also, congratulations on the nuptials and all of the positive changes that have come since March of 2020. And we wish you the best of luck this season. And thank you for joining us. You can catch San Jose State women's basketball all season long on the Mountain West Network. And it starts tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 p.m. against Santa Clara at the Provident Credit Union Event Center. Thanks for your time, Jamie Craighead.
Thank you. Anybody watching, we need you there. So get out of your house, get out of the dorms and get to the arena.